Very good. Couldn't be better.
Oh, you always say that.
Well, you don't have to believe me.
Is it really all right?
Absolutely. Now, there's no need for you to worry about your blood pressure. I can assure you of that. Now, how are you sleeping?
Not at all well, I'm afraid.
Well, that's hardly surprising under the circumstances. Are you taking the Nembutal?
Yes. It's the newspapers, Horace. They keep ringing me up and asking me questions about Rita, and always the same questions. And I've been trying so hard to forget what happened.
Yes, I know. So there's nothing one can do about the media. One of the newspapers even telephoned me.
You? Why you?
Well, Rita was my patient, don't forget, before she had her flat in London.
Oh, Mr. Clifford's here, madam.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realise the doctor was
No,
actually...
it's all right, Ernest. I'm just going. Look, I'll call in again at the end of the week.
Yes, please do, Horace.
And Isabel, you must try to get some exercise. The best thing you could possibly do is get rid of this wheelchair.
That man's a fool. He really is. Get rid of this chair, indeed.
You wanted to see me, Isabel?
Yes, I did. I have a bone to pick with you, my man. But first, I want to ask you a question. Did Rita ever talk to you about a man called Rich?
Rich?
Oh, wait a minute. No, I've got it wrong. Mitch. That's it. Mitch.
No, I don't think so. In fact, I'm sure she didn't. Why do you ask?
The police found a telegram in Rita's handbag from a friend called Mitch. I wondered who he was.
Well, I don't know anybody called Mitch, and I'm quite sure Rita never mentioned anyone of that name. What was in the telegram?
As far as I remember, thank you for the gloves. All my love, Mitch.
Thank you for the gloves. Are you quite sure that's what it said?
Yes.
Oh dear, that's very odd. Because there's a rumour going round that whoever strangled Rita was wearing gloves at the time.
So many rumours going round. I can't keep track of them. Please, would you mind?
Oh, yes, now, look, Isabel, is it important what you want to see me about? Because I really have got rather a lot to do this morning. I've got 2 appointments before lunch.
Yes, well, I expect you know why I sent for you. I've had a letter. An extremely aggressive letter.
Yes, I know. From the Inland Revenue. And I wouldn't call it aggressive. Not by any stretch of the imagination.
Then what would you call it?
I'd call it rather restrained. Yes, very restrained indeed under the circumstances, if you want my frank opinion.
Have you gone out of your mind? Don't you realise that they are demanding an extra £800?
Yes, capital gains tax.
But it's absolute nonsense. I don't owe them £800.
No, it isn't nonsense, and you know it. I have spoken to both your stockbroker and your bank manager.
Do you mean you've
both...
spoken to my bank manager?
Isabel, 3 years ago you sold 5,000 shares and you made a very substantial profit, and you told me precisely nothing about it.
Nonsense, sheer nonsense.
No, it isn't nonsense, and you know it isn't. And quite apart from owing the Inland Revenue £800, you placed me in a very embarrassing situation.
I've placed you in an embarrassing situation.
Yes, you have. I am supposed to be looking after your affairs.
Look, whose side are you on, for heaven's sake?
Oh, Isabel, I don't want to fall out with you. We're old friends, and I know you've been through a distressing time recently, but the fact remains is you haven't been honest with me.
Oh,
No, please don't explode. You're in a very awkward situation. We've got to do our best to get you out of it.
What do you want me to do?
I've written a letter to the inspector. I want you to send it to him.
Very well. But I am not going to apologise. If you think that I'm going to send him £800 and apologise into the bargain, you're quite...
Just let me get the letter and read it to you.
Well, what's the matter, Ernest?
What on earth are these doing here? They're not mine.
You're quite sure you've never seen these gloves before?
I'm positive.
And they were not in your case when you left the office?
No, they were not, and I'm quite sure my secretary would confirm that.
Where did you go when you left the office? Did you go straight to Miss Black's?
Oh, no, that is what I intended to do. No, I remembered I had a prescription to pick up for my mother, so I drove down to the chemist's. Beckwith's. It's in the High Street.
And then what?
Well, I took the pills home to my mother. It was after that I drove to Isabel's, Miss Black's.
How long were you in the chemist?
7 or 8 minutes, no longer.
Yeah, where was the case? Did you have it with you?
No. No, I did leave it in the car.
Did you see anyone in the high street? Anyone you know?
Yes, Giles Stafford. He was coming out of the chemist as I was going in.
Did you stop and talk to him?
Oh, no, we just nodded, that's all.
See anybody else?
No. Oh, sorry, yeah, Dr. Tucker, but that was later. I mean, at Isabel's.
I see. So from the moment you left the office, the case was never out of your sight, except when you stopped at the chemist and left it in the car.
That's correct.
When you arrived home, did you take the case into the house with you?
Yes, I did.
Did you open it while you were with your mother?
Well, no, I don't think so. In fact, I'm sure I didn't look at it. Oh, wait a moment. I've just remembered something. When I was at Isabel's, I left my case in the hall. When I took my raincoat off, it was only after Dr. Tucker had left that I went back and picked it up.
I see. Well, these gloves appear to have been bought from a shop called Reeves and Texton.
Yes, I noticed the label.
Do you know the shop?
No, I've never heard of it.
Have you told anyone else about this?
No. Look, Superintendent, what do you make of all this? I mean, is it some sort of joke? Because if it is, it's in very bad taste.
Well, if it is a joke, I couldn't agree more, Mr. Clifford. Thanks for coming.
Oh.
You did the right thing. And please remember, not a word to anyone about it.
No. Although I can't vouch for Isabel. I mean, she saw the gloves. She'd talk to anybody.
Oh, don't worry. I'll have a word with Miss Black. And thank you, sir.
No, not at all.
What do you make of him, sir?
I'm not sure.
Scott Douglas was holding gloves like these in the magazine photograph.
Yes, I know. What time's the next train to London?
11:15, sir.
I want you to catch him.
I shall have to be quick.
I'll drive to the station. Brief you on the way. Morning, Miss Royce. Mr. Stafford.
Morning, Mr. Harvey.
Miss Black in? Yes, she is.
I had some things belonging to Rita, so we decided to drop them in on her.
How is Miss Black?
Well, she's never been one of my favorite people, but this murder has certainly knocked her for 6. Although she can still be pretty argumentative when she feels like it.
Or when she feels like it. What does she feel like anything else?
Was her sister like that?
Like what?
Was Rita Black a difficult person to get along with?
Oh, good heavens, no. Rita was a dear. Irresponsible, perhaps, but never difficult.
And was Rita friendly with Isabel?
Well, they quarreled a bit, but I think they were genuinely fond of each other. Wouldn't you say so?
Is that your opinion, Mr. Stafford? I wouldn't know. I didn't know Rita very well, and to be perfectly honest, I tried to give Isabel a wide berth. I'm a coward, Superintendent, particularly when it comes to disagreeable people. Isn't that right, darling? Anything for peace. That's me.
Bye.
Superintendent Harvey.
Superintendent, I'd like you to read this letter.
You filthy murderer, bloody strangler. If you think you're going to get away with it... Let's go along to my office.
That's not the first letter I've received like that, you know. I've had at least half a dozen. And phone calls. Last night, a woman rang up. I don't know who she was. My wife answered the phone. But it was all exactly like that. Filthy murderer, bloody strangler. I didn't think much of it at first, but it's beginning to worry my wife, and quite frankly, it's getting me down.
You say you've received half a dozen letters like
Yes, yes, probably more.
this. Have you got them?
No, I'm afraid I haven't. I was so disgusted I burnt them.
When did this one arrive? Come in.
This morning. Unfortunately, it was addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Galbraith, and my wife opened it.
Well, looks like a woman's handwriting. Postmark Colchester. Have you any idea who's sending you these letters?
I haven't the slightest idea.
And your wife didn't recognize the voice on the phone?
No, I'm afraid she didn't. The woman was only on the phone for a few seconds.
Well, what do you want us to do about it? Try and find out who's sending them?
I don't give a damn who's sending them. I want them stopped, that's all.
Yes.
Now, don't misunderstand me. These letters don't worry me personally.
I
It's
thought
just...
you said they did.
The fact is, I've already had one bust-up with my wife over Rita Black, and I don't want another, that's all.
Hey, when did you have this bust-up?
About a year ago.
Well, what happened?
My wife left me.
Go on.
She left me, that's all.
What do you mean? She left you because she thought you were having an affair?
Yes, but it wasn't true. Rita and I were friends, certainly, but we were not having an affair.
When was the last time that you saw Rita Black?
The last time.
Yeah. I would like you to be frank with me about this, Mr. Galbraith. It's rather important.
Well, to be honest with you, to be honest, the last time I saw Rita was about 5 weeks ago. I had to spend the day in London, and we bumped into each other in Harrods.
Yeah, go on.
She invited me back to her flat.
What, Ellisfield Gardens?
Yes, we had a few drinks and sat talking for an hour or so.
How did she seem? Was she depressed?
No, not at all. She was in very good spirits.
Right, carry on.
Well, despite the fact that I had several appointments in town, Rita insisted that we have dinner together. We made arrangements to meet at the Santa Cristina, but unfortunately...
Santa Cristina?
Yes, it's a Spanish restaurant in Charlotte Street. I've never been there before, but apparently a lot of theatre people go there. Anyway, when I got to the restaurant, there was a message from Rita to say she couldn't make it. Well, naturally, I was annoyed, damned annoyed. I telephoned the flat, but there was no reply.
Yeah, what did you do then?
Well, I had a meal by myself and caught the last train back to Market Cross.
Forgive me, but did you tell your wife about this meeting?
You've got to be joking.
You tell anyone else about it?
No. Now, look, don't get the wrong impression. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. We just had a friendly chat about old times, that's all.
I understand you're a golf professional, Mr. Galbraith.
Yes, that's right. Do you play golf, Superintendent?
No, I don't. I imagine in your profession you must meet an awful lot of people.
Yes, I suppose I do.
Do you take sugar?
No, please.
Ever come across a chap called Scott Douglas?
Scott Douglas? An American? Something big in advertising?
That's right.
Yes. I believe I have run across him. I believe I played him. In fact, I gave him a lesson on one occasion. Why do you ask?
Oh, it's just that I met him the other day. He told me that he had a house in Suffolk and played golf occasionally.
Yes, he's quite a good player. Though, not as good as Mason.
I wouldn't worry too much about this sort of thing if I were you. You can tell your wife a lot of people have received anonymous letters since Rita Black was killed.
Have they?
You can tell your wife that.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, thank you, Superintendent.
Thompson,
Yes, sir.
what is all this about Coogan? Is he badly hurt?
He's very badly bruised, sir. We've asked the doctor to have a look at him.
What happened exactly?
Well, apparently he saw a man climbing into a flat in Earlsfield Gardens. Coogan followed him into the Fulham Road and collided with a young lady, sir. A rather athletic young lady. I understand she kicked him, quite deliberately, in several places.
Morning,
Right.
Sydney.
Sam.
Thanks very much for your help.
That's all right. That's the coat, isn't it? Fetch the coat, Thompson.
Yes, sir.
I've got an idea this will interest you even more than the coat. About an hour ago, someone was seen breaking into number 24 Ellesmere Gardens.
Rita Black's flat.
Yes, one of our chaps spotted him getting out of the window and gave chase.
Know what happened?
Unfortunately, he got away.
You got a description of it?
Yes. Come in. Oh, thank you.
The doctor's here now, sir. Coogan's with him.
I'll be within a minute.
Very well, sir.
Right. there anything in the coat?
No, nothing.
Where was it found?
Curiously, on a building site. Someone must have dumped it there.
You do me a favour?
If I can.
I'd like to take this back to Douglas myself, if you don't object.
All right, if you want to.
Thanks.
Now, you'll have to excuse me. One of our chaps has hurt himself. Don't go away. I'll be back. Sure. Okay.
Hello?
Mr. Douglas, it's Leonard.
Leonard, where the hell are you?
I'm in a call box, sir. Look, I don't think I better report back to you, not straight away.
Why not? What's happened?
Well, I was seen leaving the flat. I'll make a dash for it.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right, but it was a near thing.
Did you find it?
No, sir, it's not there. It's not in the flat.
Are you sure?
I'm absolutely sure, sir. I went through every drawer and cupboard.
Okay, Leonard.
Mr. Douglas, what shall I do?
Which car have you got?
The Mini.
Drive down to the Suffolk, please.
Right.
Good morning, Mr. Douglas.
Good morning, Superintendent.
We found your coat.
Yes, so I see. Well, you fellas don't waste any time. Come along in.
Thank you. It was found on a building site near Luggage Circus, as a matter of fact.
No kidding. What how on earth it got down there?
I'm afraid the keys are still missing. You sure they were in the overcoat?
Well, that's just it. I'm not sure, but I've looked everywhere else. Damn nuisance when you lose your keys. Feel kind of naked.
Well, I expect they'll turn up. You've been lucky so far with your briefcase and the coat.
Yes, I sure have.
Your man off today?
Leonard, no, he went down to Westcliff for 2 or 3 days. He left yesterday. Well, if you'll excuse me, Superintendent, I'm expecting my secretary at any minute.
It is your coat, of course.
Yes, of course.
And the gloves?
Yes, they're mine. Oh, you wanted to look at these, didn't you?
Are they your gloves?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
I wonder, would you mind putting them on? Well, they fit.
Of course they fit.
May I have the gloves?
Look, what is this all about?
We didn't find your gloves in the overcoat. They were discovered in a document case belonging to an accountant called Ernest Clifford.
Well, who the hell is Ernest Clifford, and what were my gloves doing in his document case?
Well, I was hoping you'd be able to answer that question. A colleague of mine took the gloves to Scotland Yard, and they confirmed what I suspected. The murderer wore these gloves, Mr. Douglas, the night he strangled Rita Black.
Well, then quite obviously I was wrong. They are not my gloves. Wait a minute. Did you put those gloves in my overcoat pocket in order to trick me
Trick
into
you, sir?
saying...
No. I merely asked you to identify them.
Supposing you found a pair of gloves in your overcoat pocket that looked exactly like a pair you had been wearing. Wouldn't you jump to the conclusion that they were your gloves?
I try very hard not to jump to conclusions.
Well, I don't think you try hard enough. You think I killed Rita Black, don't you? Well, you're wrong. I didn't know the girl, and I wasn't anywhere near Market Cross the night she was strangled.
But you can't prove that.
Well, maybe I can. Ever since your last visit, I've been trying to remember what actually happened that night. I've tried to remember details, however small and unimportant.
Well?
Well, this morning in my shower, I suddenly remembered something.
Well, go on, sir.
I went to the cinema on the night of the murder.
Well, yes, I know. You've told me that.
I left about 10:15. As I was getting into a taxi, a girl was coming out of the cinema. I didn't pay much attention to her at the time, although I now realize that I vaguely recognized her.
Well, the point is, did she recognize you?
Yes, I think she did.
Well, who was this girl?
Well, I'm not sure, but I believe her name is Geraldine Newton.
Does she work for you?
Oh, she did. about 3 or 4 years ago on a temporary basis. I mean, I hardly knew the girl. She didn't work for me personally.
You obviously have an extremely good memory for faces.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have.
Let's hope Miss Newton has too. We'll be in touch.
Oh.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Elaine.
Morning, Mr. Douglas. I'm sorry I'm late. The traffic was simply dreadful this morning.
Well, that's right. I'm sorry to drag you all the way down here, but I had a late night last night. I just couldn't face going into the office.
I know how you feel. I think we'd better start with the American correspondence, sir. There's a heap of letters in from New York, and we had a telex last night from the office in Philadelphia.
Elaine, do you remember a girl called Geraldine Newton?
Yes, I certainly do. She was Mr. Ronson's secretary for a time. She did her best to break up his marriage.
I'd like to see her. Could you arrange for her to be in my office tomorrow morning, any time after 10 o'clock? It's very important.
Well, do you think perhaps we could arrange it for the afternoon, sir?
Oh, why the afternoon?
Well, I have to contact her, and she has to get here.
Oh, what do you mean, get here?
And she's in Brussels, sir.
In Brussels?
Yes, she works for the EEC.
How long has she been in Brussels?
Ooh, at least 15 months. They say she's very friendly with... Is anything the matter, sir?
Oh, no, nothing. Forget what I was talking about. Forget about Geraldine Newton. Hello.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes?
Mr. Scott Douglas?
Yes, speaking.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Douglas. Or should I say good afternoon? This is Miss Hathaway.
Miss who?
Miss Hathaway. Joe Hathaway? Hathaway's Bookshop, South Bergsholt. We managed to get the book you ordered, Mr. Douglas.
So if you could drop around sometime this afternoon?
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't ordered any books.
Come now, Mr. Douglas. You asked me to get you a first edition of Somerset Maugham's short stories.
Well, there must be some mistake. You must have the wrong... How did you get this telephone number? It's ex-directory.
You gave it to me, Mr. Douglas, when you ordered the book.
I've just told you I haven't ordered any books from you.
I'm sure you'll be delighted when you see it. It's signed by the author and contains your favorite story.
My favorite story?
The letter. You were quite definite about that, Mr. Douglas. You said, I must have the letter, Miss Hathaway.
Where did you say your bookshop was?
You're in a very facetious mood this morning. It's in South Bergsholt, near Market Cross. Don't disappoint me, Mr. Douglas. I look forward so much to seeing you again.
4 o'clock this afternoon, Miss Hathaway. Excuse me, miss. I wonder if you could help me. I'm looking for Hathaway's Bookshop.
Hathaway's Bookshop.
Yes. Have you any idea where it is?
Sorry, I've never heard of a bookshop in South Berkshire.
Surely there is. I was given to understand that.
There isn't a shop called Hathaway's, not in South Berkshire, I assure you. I'm a school teacher, I would have heard of it.
Yes, of course you would. Excuse me. I'm sorry to trouble you. What are you doing in my car? Who the hell are you?
I'm Joe Hathaway, and I'm waiting for you, Mr. Douglas. I suggest you get in the car.
And I suggest you get out of it.
If you don't want to talk to me, why did you keep the appointment? Now, don't be silly. Get in the car.
Now, what is it you want? What is all this damn nonsense about a book?
Would you have liked me to be more specific on the phone?
Specific? What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about, or you wouldn't be here. I'm talking about a letter. The threatening letter that you wrote Rita Black.
Who is Rita Black? I've never heard of her.
Mr. Douglas, you can lose your temper, blow your top, paint your toenails red, but please don't insult my intelligence. Rita Black was a friend of yours. A very close friend. Would you like to know how close? Go ahead. Turn it on.
Hello?
Rita, this is Mitch.
Well?
Did you get my letter?
Yes, I got it. I didn't like it. I'm not used to threatening letters, Mitch.
Oh, the ball's in your court. What do you suggest?
Can we meet and talk it over?
What's the point? We'll only finish up having one hell of a row. We always do.
I must see you again, Mitch.
Okay, if that's what you want.
Can you meet me in Market Cross one day next week?
Why Market Cross, for God's sake?
I've got to go down there for my birthday. I had a phone call from my sister saying...
All right, Rita, Market Cross. I guess we can fight there as well as any place else.
Don't say that, Mitch. Is Monday all right for you?
Monday? Yes, that's okay.
Oh, let's say 7:30 or thereabouts. I'll meet you on the corner of Melton Avenue and High Street.
Okay, Rita. Monday.
Goodbye, Mitch.
Is there another tape of this conversation?
Yes, but don't worry, I've got it.
And the letter? Have you got the letter I wrote?
No, a friend of mine has it, but I can get it for you.
How much? How much money do you want for it?
That's my favorite question.
Then answer it.
I'll let you know.
When will you let me know?
Soon. Very soon. I suggest we meet in town. Next week? My office? Don't worry, Mr. Douglas. You'll be hearing from me.
Just for a moment, sir.
Dr. Tucker here yet?
No, not yet, sir, but Mr. Stafford's here and I'd like to have a word with you.
Mr. Stafford? All right, ask him to come in, would you?
Okay. Mr. Stafford, sir.
Sorry to barge in on you like this. That's right, Mr. Stafford. Any excuse to get away from the paperwork. What can I do for you? Well, you can't do anything for me, Superintendent. No, it's just... Do sit down. No, I won't keep you a minute. Sure, you're a very busy man, and I've got an awful lot on my plate as well. Rather more than I can handle, to be honest. What are you up to? We're clearing the wood where Rita Black was found. Yeah, I've got planning permission to build a couple of bungalows. They started work yesterday. This morning, Archie Wright, you remember the gardener who discovered... Oh, yes. Archie's been giving the work people a hand. This morning, while I'm having breakfast, cut a long story short, Archie found this. Not far from where your chap discovered the handbag.